and welcome to this week's podcast of Take Note. We are your hosts, Katie and Haley. I'm Katie.
And I'm Haley. And today we're going to be talking about the radio, taking a look in the past, the present, and what the future might possibly look like for the radio.
This is something that we both think, it's always interested us because our grandparents have talked about it, our parents have talked about it, but it's changed so much that it's something that we're not really familiar with, and we really liked learning more about it.
Yeah, so I actually asked my grandma and my mom about what the radio was kind of like in their day when it came out. It actually came out in 1895. And so I decided to ask them because I thought it'd be interesting to listen firsthand to what the radio was like back in the day. And this is what they had to say. What was the radio originally used for?
Well, that's how we got the news that was going on in the country. We listened to sports activities because we didn't have the opportunity to attend a lot of these types of things. Music, it was enjoyable to listen to the radio. There were a lot of series of stories from one week to the next. I remember liking to certain days would have different, and I can't remember the names of them, but there would be stories that we would like to listen to certain days at certain times, like on television. They have them now, but then it was radio.
Janice?
Yeah?
How do you think advertisement has changed through the years?
On the radio or in general?
I'm saying, radio was a big thing back in the day, but do you feel like radio is still used a lot, or how has that changed over the years?
I think that the radio is used a lot for advertising, but I don't know if you get a lot of people that listen to the radio as much as they used to because of all of the computers and Wi-Fi and iTunes and all those things.
Right.
So back in the day, in the 80s, the radio was a big deal. That's how you listen to music when you're traveling, and if you're home and they were going to play a song on the radio, you wanted to record it, you'd have your cassette ready to go so that when the DJ stopped talking and announced he was playing your song, you could record it and it would go onto your cassette. And then you'd have it, and if you were lucky enough to have a cassette player in your car, you'd listen to it on that and not the radio. But that's how we got our stuff, was through the radio.
Right. So that's actually very interesting because now you used to use cassettes, and now we just use aux cords, which is basically the same thing but a more efficient version. Do you agree?
Yeah, but that makes it so you can get anything you want. We were limited on what the radio would play. You could listen to songs, certain stations, and hope they played your song that you liked. But with this, the technology now, you plug in your aux cord, download just some music. You can listen to any song you want.
So I thought each of those were interesting because we talked about how in 1895 the radio was created, but moving into the 1920s and 1930s, the golden age, it's getting more familiar with people, and people are getting it by the 1960s and the 1970s and 80s. We come with the silver age, and that's when the shows come out, and I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because you kind of see a progression of started as the radio, then TV came out, and now we're at a place where there's just so much technology and media that it's kind of hard to remember what it was like with the radio sort of. Because I've never known a life where radio was the only option we had.
Yeah.
So.
And now the future holds so much.
Yeah, so what do you think the future is going to look like for radio, though?
I don't know, because I also think that news isn't being, it's not as important as it used to be like that's I don't know. I feel like world news was very important, and I agree to somewhat that it still is. But I think in our day and age, it's moving away.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like in the future, I don't really see a need for radio because we're like my mom was talking about. You see advertisement found in different places now, like on social media and stuff. And like I myself never listen to the radio because I have my aux cord and I can just listen to whatever I want to. And whether it's a podcast like this one, like even that used to be on the radio, but now it's like at the tip of our fingers.
Now there's so many different mediums. Like people listen to music on so many different sites. People even listen to podcasts on so many different places, and you can find it wherever you need to.
And I also think it's interesting that you don't have to like hope that your favorite podcast comes on now. You can just go listen to it. And so I think that the future of radio doesn't look that great because it's not really a common thing anymore. So I feel like in the future radio could go away completely.
I agree.
Tune in next week to Take Note, where we'll be discussing the future of television.
We'll be here.
Thanks for listening.